Hello and welcome to Denny's No Reservations, LBLCS's new talk show of getting to know players from around the league. This is for anyone, players, org owners, captains, staff members who want to come in, talk about their gaming history and league history in general to maybe build a bridge between people in economy like myself or people in the higher leagues like LCS and CEO. So that way, maybe you can find a friendship with a person of a higher elo than you and play with them or talk to them in general. Since community chat doesn't really do that. Today's guest is one of my personal friends that I've been talking to for in LBLCS for a long time. From OML versus everyone, it's Young Santa.
What's up, Sammy? How are you, man?
Good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. It's Friday. My daughter is down to sleep, so I'm going to get some personal time and looking forward to talking to you and, yeah, jumping into these questions.
Very nice, very nice. So, what is your gaming background? I know you're one, not, I wouldn't say the oldest member in the community, but you're one of the older people in the community. And what got you into gaming?
Dang, you put me on blast like that.
Yes, I did.
I'm not the oldest in the community. I know of a couple people older than me, but I am. Um, I got called Unc by Jackie Boy for
Yeah, you did.
something I said. I think it was like last week. So I am definitely Unk status, but I've been playing games. I guess my whole life. I had like a had an NC or I remember getting like the original Sega. I had a Super Nintendo. I had Game Boy before it was in color. Um, I've been playing since '93. I want to say playing games, but traditionally, I played consoles. Um, League of Legends is actually the first computer game that I'd ever played. So switching from um, a controller to a keyboard was a huge learning curve for me. But yeah, no, I grew up playing traditional sports. I played hockey and was a state champion in ultimate frisbee. Loved to compete and played console sports games. I played 2K, I played FIFA, I played NHL, I played Madden. Really just enjoyed sports in general and found League kind of on a whim and haven't played anything else since pretty much.
All right. Okay. Okay. So you said you found the league on a whim.
Yeah.
Was it what what got you interested in league? Was it someone mentioned it to you, or was it you just
Yeah.
were
So I
scrolling
had a
YouTube
buddy.
videos?
I had a buddy that I worked with who played collegiately, and we were just talking at work one day. So it was 2018, 2019 maybe, and we're just shooting the shit at work, and he was kind of talking about League of Legends and his time playing collegiately, and I didn't know really anything about the game. So a couple weeks later, I'm scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch to go to sleep, and I come across a Netflix doc series called 7 Days Out, and essentially the concept was the planning and the execution of big events from 7 days prior to the event to the actual event going through, and they had a League of Legends episode. And I turned that on and I was just like, oh, this is what, Eddie was talking about. Like, let's see what this game's about. Not knowing anything about it and kind of got hooked on like the idea, like the character. It was like detailing um, TL's first um, LCS championship. I think it was in like Miami, and it was like Double Lift had like a personal, like his brother killed his parents or some shit like before um, that series, and like just kind of got drew into the story. But then also Double Lift as a player, and like thought he was interesting, and like, oh, that this guy just talks shit, and I thought that was funny. And um so, kind of saw that and downloaded the game and was very, very bad for a very long time, and um did not understand the most basic of concepts. Like, I remember asking my buddy like 3 months, 4 months in, I'm like, what is a stack mean? Like, it was like I played a stacking, like maybe like Nasus, because I was playing top lane. And I'm like, what, when it says a stack, what does that mean? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it says a stack. Like, what does that mean? And yeah, it was it drew me in initially, just hanging out with a buddy, and then it was okay, this game is very, very complex, and like it has traditional like sports type feel to it, but the possibilities seemed endless, and it was pretty intellectually rewarding for me to do something different and learn something new. And like the combinations and like the strategy of it just kind of drew me in, and uh, honestly killed traditional console gaming. Since then, I the last game I finished was a month before I started playing League, and it was like Red Dead 2. So um, I, I'll fire up my Xbox and play for 15 minutes, and then think to myself like, I could be playing League right now. Um, so yeah, a Netflix documentary drew me in, and then went to LCS finals here in Detroit and was hooked. Um, really hooked. So
And then what brought you into comp play, amateur scene with LBLCS and
so um, when I first got into League, I was living in Nashville, and post pandemic, my wife and I, or during the pandemic, our jobs went virtual, and we started talking about um, like where we wanted to be long term if like we weren't tied to, you know working in this city, right? Like, we had a downtown apartment in Nashville, and we were paying way too much money for an apartment that was everything was shut down. And so we started talking about like, okay, like we love being close to my family, like going up north, it feels like going home. Um, from an economic standpoint, like buying a home is a lot easier here in Detroit than it was in Nashville, and then Nashville just wasn't really for us anymore. But when I moved up here, it's like I'm in my 30s. I have a kid on the way. I'm in a new city. How do I make friends? And I found a gaming cafe that ran esports teams, and they ran League of Legends teams. And so they had an open tryout. I'm like, I think I'm okay. I was at the time I was a Pike Recon 2 trick. I couldn't play anything else. But I felt confident on those two champions. So I go to this tryout, and I meet Reclaimer, I meet Talk Show, I meet Show You, I meet Tie Dye. Um, I meet all these guys who were kind of integrated in Replay Cafe's scene, and get connected with them, and was on an academy team for Replay. And Replay unfortunately shut down, and we kept playing Clash together, and we flexed together. And then I found LBLCS through Twitter, through David Shynock, Dizzy Dave, and was like, hey, would you guys want to do this? Like, I'll do all the forums. You guys want to keep playing together. And so we formed Detroit versus everybody, and we've been in the league, I think, to some capacity. I think this is our fifth, sixth season, maybe.
I think it's your fifth or sixth season. I think
I think it's fifth or sixth. Yeah, I think we started. I think this is fifth.
okay. Now, how I know you probably don't want to talk about, it, but how's your current season going right now?
Oh, um, it's interesting. Like, um, we're having a tough go at it. We're 0-3 in our series, 0-6 overall. We've never had a series start out like this. But everybody's in a different stage of life on our team. I feel like for whatever reason this season we're playing the least amount of league that we've had. My daughter, personally started preschool. One of our guys is just got a big promotion at work, and that's limited. Like his commutes nearly doubled. One of our guys just got married 2 weeks ago. I think out of the 6 games, we've had one game where all like intended starting five have actually played. We've used subs way more than we ever had, which shout out to Dave the First and Linoleum for jumping in and helping out. But yeah, I we're having a good time. Our coming into the season, I didn't want to feel stressed at the end of the season. Um, and so we said we were going to play fast and loose, and if we win, we win. If we don't, we'll be okay. It's about the relationships and having that time together and playing the game that we love to play. And wins and losses aren't everything at the end of the day. Which is, it's easy to say when you're 0-6 and 0-3 in series, but truly, like we in my application to LBLCS, it literally said, we're here to just run. Like I don't want to five head the meta. I don't want to try and stress myself out looking at draft patterns of other teams. I just want to play things that are fun. Like I don't want to play mages. I want to play Pike and go back to things that like I truly enjoy about League of Legends, opposed to like just trying to be a Chad and try and win, Super Stomp or whatever. Like I just it's been difficult because the success hasn't been there, but at the same time, I'm not really looking at wins and losses this season for whatever reason. Maybe because we're losing, but who knows? But yeah, I mean we're in a good place within our relationships, and there's not stress, which is good.
Yeah. At the end of the day, most league is supposed to be fun. This
Yeah,
community is built on everyone having fun, having a good time, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. So,
for sure. It's and especially with OML, like OML as an org, it's community driven. Like we are a group of guys, most of us in our 30s. Most of us, or not most of us, but a lot of us have kids. We all have jobs and mortgages and responsibilities, and um, we enjoy this game. And League in general, playing solo queue, where the greater community can be a very, very toxic place. And we are intentionally supportive. Like we have 3 teams this season, and you know our executive level teams 3-0, and they're killing it. And we're 0-3, and I want to say our his financial team is 2-1. So it's we but the interactions, the relationships between the teams, the in-houses, the general support network is what truly matters. And LBS is a tool that we all can utilize to enhance these relationships and the community that we've built. So um you know um you talked in your intro about building those connections between different skill levels and getting perspectives and building friendships, and that's what our org does. We don't have coaches, we don't have paid staff members. We're literally just a bunch of dudes, a bunch of old dudes who just love hanging out and playing the game. So um, success may not be here this season, but I think overall, we're in a good place. So yeah.
Hmm. If you could change like any specific rule in LBLCS, what rule would it be and what would you change it to?
Any specific rule? All right. What senior admin do I want to make mad in this statement?
Just make all of them mad. That's the easy way.
Um, no, I think that every year, especially like since jumping onto staff and being somewhat in the conversations of changes, I think that they do a really good job adjusting to the things that um, the blind spots that are in our rules, right?
Yes.
Um, there was um, there was one major blind spot that I don't think anyone saw, but like this past year or this last season, and in the off season they made the change, and so I think they're constantly adapting. They're always willing to listen. So I don't necessarily the one that I would have picked out. They already changed. So
Okay.
it's I don't think that there's anything that's come about this season that's been like okay, like that's something that we need to look at, for next season.
Gotcha.
But if there is, it might come up, and it always does. There's always something.
Yes.
We had major changes last season, and there were some blind spots there, and like I said, they changed it. So um, I think that they are. I think overall they're doing a great job, and that it's thankless work. Like none of those guys are making any money, but
That's right.
they
Neither are we.
want they yeah, neither are we. But they put together a great product, and they care about it a lot, and um overall, like I don't think I would change anything. I think um yeah, there's nothing that comes to mind. I
Okay.
think that they're transparent in their decision makings, and um yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for you. I
I
wish
think
I had.
I think
I
I
wish I
know
had a
I think I
speak
know
free.
what the rule was, and that's the whole point rule with like how they did the points for the pots and stuff. Is that the rule you were talking about?
No, no, not necessarily. I think the adjustment in terms of like pot four and pot three teams being able to move up to a certain level, that's been a great adjustment.
Yeah.
But no, the rule that I was referencing was um, how new players being added to teams are evaluated on current rank opposed to potential rank 6 months ago. Um,
Okay.
so, like for instance, if somebody was added, say week 7 of um, last season's LBLCS, they were still being evaluated on their ranks from January, opposed to where they currently rank. So the potential for somebody to have climbed well above their point value was there within the rules, which was completely within the rules because everybody was being evaluated based on how we evaluate every single player
Yes.
at the beginning of the season. Now, if you add a new player in, it's not only are they evaluated based on potentially the last 2 years, but they're evaluated on their current rank as well.
Yeah.
Versus, you
I
know,
I think there's also a cutoff date on adding players this year again, which
yeah,
is
they're
I
I
think
think
week
week
5.
5, yeah, week 5, I think, which I think is smart.
Yeah. You shouldn't be able
I
to add
know
people so close to
only
playoffs.
being able to carry 8 people, like having open rosters all the way through playoffs was kind of a necessity because you couldn't carry a lot of people. But locking rosters at week 5, I think, is a smart decision overall too. Just because there's a lot of roster tickets, and I don't particularly handle a lot of those, but there's 4 or 5 people, including yourself, who knock those
Oh,
out, and they can
I've
be
been
abundant.
I've actually been stepping back on them and letting
I
the
know.
other people handle it.
I
I
want to.
handle
I
more
want.
of the question tickets. Like,
Sure. Sure. Yeah, those are typically funner to answer than I
yeah,
want to add this person, I want to drop this person. So, um, yeah.
all right.
But what about you? What rule would you change other than
But
letting
it
me get back into economy so that I could
no, I
destroy
want to
you?
let you back in economy. No, no. The rule I would change would also kind of got changed with the whole pot four, pot three teams can increase their limits a little bit to be more competitive with the pot one and pot two teams.
Yeah.
But with that being said, my pot three team in economy is at the max points already as it is.
So you're the line.
I'm the line.
Mm.
So it sucks because we can't really improve to get closer to the 17 and 18 point teams in economy while I'm sitting at 13.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I get
to
that.
be
I'm the bottom of my league completely, but and I could technically add 7 points to my roster, but the fact that, or 5 points to my roster, but I mean,
yeah,
I play with guys that I want to play with, and I'm not trying
exactly,
to,
which is
you know.
how we tell you to sign up. Play with
Yeah.
who you want to play with. Let us
So
deal with the rest. And then, but the the major thing was like this whole point change system was I think the leagues are a lot closer than what they've ever been. Because
yeah.
when you look at economy last season, you had a max of 25 points
Hmm.
and a minimum, I think, of 12 or 13.
He was 13. Yeah.
So that's a 12-point gap.
Yeah.
This season, it's 18 points and then 11 points. So it's only
Mm.
7 points.
I think
And
we're I think we're 25 and we're 18, so we have like a 7 point swing too in
and
commercial.
then Tax Haven, the group right above you guys, is flat 28 because all of them are all 28s.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that Tax Haven was
Yes.
like that.
So
So they can't make any changes to their
they can't.
roster to
They really
pick him
can't.
up.
But
That's fun.
They can adjust their players and stuff. But like if they drop someone lower, they can bring in someone higher and stuff. So
Yeah, sure.
it it can work out. You just have to do the math correctly.
Yeah, adjust accordingly. Yeah, it's
Now
interesting.
you mentioned replay,
Hmm.
and now you're on OML.
Yeah.
How I know you how you found them, but for the
Mm.
people who don't know how you found them here through LBLCS, obviously. What made you guys decide to go from Detroit versus everybody to OML versus everybody?
Um, I think that for that decision, it was really on me. Um, I I was having we had a pretty tough scheduling split in terms of we ran 5 guys. We were a 5 man roster. We had 2 subs, but they were really just subs based on the rules. Which maybe that's what's going to piss the admins off that I'm saying that, but we had subs that we 100% never intended to use, and we had a very 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 tough scheduling split. And on the back end of it, I got really really burnt out in terms of just feeling kind of alone in being a captain and having to do um, not only find like not being able to find a day in the week where all 5 of us could play a game, let alone an additional 5 people who could also fit that role week over week. I think that season we had 4 games that we had to schedule over the last 2 weeks of the season, just because we just couldn't schedule during the year. And in that time, like I was talking a lot to Topher and to Jabba, and just expressing some frustration in terms of like captain's duties, but um, just really developed a relationship specifically with Topher at the time, and just talking through the league and talking through, um, you know, needing to schedule all these games. But we talked constantly. We talked about conceptual ideas about LBLCS. We talked about rosters and drafts, and a lot like how our relationships developed over time, playing in a league last year together, as competition. Um, and the question kind of came up, like, would you guys want to just come jump in with us? Like, it already felt like we scrim you guys all the time. Like, we look at you as a partner team or whatever. And for me, it was, I felt supported by these guys even though I wasn't within their org. And I think it speaks to really what Java's built in OML. Like, um, Java and I talk every single day, about league, about life, about families, and it really is, um, like I said earlier, a community driven organization. It's about connections, and we do an in real life LAN party every single year, which I got to go to this past spring. We had 10 guys, um, in a house just outside of Cleveland, for a week, where we hung out and we played League. Like, really, we woke up, we we ate breakfast, and we played League all day long. Um, we had 3 separate games going. LBLCS games. We had between our 3 teams, and we're there supporting each other, cheering each other on, and goofing off, and it's guys in their 30s taking time off to go sit in a basement in Cleveland, Ohio, to play a game, and it's family. Like, OML is truly family, and so for me, it was, I feel supported by these people. I feel like these people care about not just, like, my team, but like my mental well being as well. Like, um it's a brotherhood, for a lot of us, and Jabba's built that. Jabba and Dave and Jeff and, um, those guys. It started with just 3 guys who like to get together and play the game, and it's grown into a server of 110 and 120 people, and not every single person is on an OML team, but like, we've grown in relationships with a lot of LBLCS people, um, and look at you know those relationships as kind of an extension, like the backflip guys and now front flip. Like, I love playing against Blackout. Blackout is, one of the best supports, I think, at my level. And, but, we're in this league together, or we're in, OML together, and we talk, about, our teams. And, I think if he didn't start his own team, he could have been on an OML team. I know he could have also been on your team, and maybe that speaks to Blackout's character and everybody wanting Blackout. But it's yeah, it's a good place to be. It's family, it's community, it's brotherhood, it's support, and it's not toxic, in the way that, a lot of places, and especially in the gaming network, I think, especially in League, it can be very, very toxic, and nobody's like that in our community. So we are about supporting each other first, and then supporting each other first, building relationships. Winning is down here. So, um, we're all competitive and we all want to win, but we're not going to win at the extent of burning each other, and fighting, and being toxic to each other.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
what about you? Tell me about NGO. I feel like I have
well,
a
it's not
little bit.
NGO this split.
Oh, sorry, NG. Sorry.
Thing. So, pretty much the backstory of that is, uh, myself, Wisdom, which now goes by Bard,
Yes.
which annoys the hell out of me. But
It's
that's a
fun.
topic for another day. Uh, we, me, him, myself, and Mew Life all decided to find a. We were all on Triferix many moons ago
Okay.
before Nefarious started. We found out our Triferix had a Smurf in the org, and we were me being a staff member of LBLCS, I reported it, and then we left and formed our own little community, Nefarious.
Gotcha.
And Mew's no longer with us, but that's just because we all had a difference of opinion on how things should be going on. So, Wisdom and myself, we pretty much took the reins, and we built the community now to. I think we have about 120 people on there. Not everyone's on the team, also, but we we have 4 teams this split, and
Yeah,
we're
I think you guys have the most in LBLCS, right?
yeah, we won this year. We're the most hated org this year, so uh because I mean we expanded with Waves in motion from Econ last season.
Great team.
They are a great team, great people, but I'm not feeding them until they win. So, and they know that. So
They could. They very well could win a commercial this year. They're
they
very
could,
good.
and I think they will. They just have to get out whatever rut they're in because they lost last night too. So,
Goodness, who'd they play?
uh, not Castaways. I don't remember who they played. I can pull it up real quick though. The crew.
Yeah, we played the crew. The crew's good.
Yeah.
Crew's
So,
really good.
but I mean, essentially, it's just me and Wisdom, his wife, and then our logo designer and another friend. We all work together as the council, and we build the community to what we think it should be, and try to keep it to that standard.
Sure.
Now, besides Blackout, because you already mentioned him, who has been your favorite person to go against? And previous splits, this split.
Hmm. Uh, Blackout's always fun. I
I
think
said
we have
besides
some.
Blackout.
I just want to give Blackout his praise. We have similar styles, and so we both like playing roaming support. So he's always fun to play against because when I travel to a fight, he's probably going to be there too. Yeah, let's see. Outside of like OML guys who are now part of my same org, so I don't play them. Um, Reclaimer and Luffy have kind of an interesting rivalry. Um, they also have very very similar play styles. They are both very aggressive, invading junglers. We play them next week, and personally, anytime that I get to play against Luffy, like I'm excited because I know Reclaimer and him are just going to talk shit to each other, and
Sounds
in
about right.
in the most respectful way. I think they have a lot of mutual respect for each other in terms of play style. We got to play them last year at the end of the season, and Reclaimer and I just sat in Luffy's jungle and killed him like back to back to back, like three times in a row. Um, and just made it so he couldn't play the game. And so um, that's always fun. It's always fun when you get to play your friends, and that's the beauty of LBLCS. The longer that you're in that, the longer you're gonna continue to build relationships and have historical data amongst the same people. And I know for Reclaimer, Luffy is one of those guys, and so next week should be a lot of fun. And something that I look forward to. And when they got on
Yeah,
um, you know, um, I know that when the game's over, regardless of whether or not we win or you win, you're going to come into chat and tell me that you hate me, and
that's true.
that's the beauty of friendship, right?
Yep.
Is 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 competing and still coming out and laughing about it, on the back end. So, um, yeah, I think between you, Blackout, and Luffy, Captain, Acadament, I don't know how to say his name.
Captain, I
Um,
can't.
yeah, like love playing against them. I think. Is there anybody else? I would say the old LA Tech team, but Andreas is now on an OML team. Um,
Yeah.
we had a situation um, come up a couple splits ago where we had played a um, a playoff game and had lost the series, but it came out that the entire team was Smurfs. Be sure to make sure that your master's level Twitch account isn't tied to your Discord when you join a commercial level league. Just giving that advice to anybody out there. So a whole team got suspended, and we were just going to bow out of playoffs because we didn't feel good about um, moving on to the next round. But the league kind of told us like, no, we want you to continue on, and I'm like, well, can we pull the team the next team from who didn't make playoffs because this team took the spot in playoffs, and so that was LA Tech, and we had scrimmed them a bunch that season, and had a lot of respect for them, and so Andreas is one of those people that um, I really really enjoyed playing against, and now he's part of OML, which is great. He's on OGs, which yeah, he's playing top lane for them and killing it. I think he has like a 34% damage percent for that team. Guy likes to scrap, so
Yeah, he does.
um, he's another person that I really enjoy playing against.
Yeah, I was gonna be very upset if you didn't mention me though. So I was gonna cry myself to sleep.
Of course, you say it goes without saying.
All right. Now, you mentioned on the sign up form for this little interview that you want to discuss the true villain of Home Alone.
Yeah,
Who's the true villain of Home Alone?
it's been out there for a while, and I don't think people talk about it enough. I have very very strong opinions about this. So just let's take a step back, close your eyes,
No.
and put yourself in this situation. Okay, it's Christmas Eve, right?
Hmm.
You're coming out of your job. A young boy walks up to you. He says, "I know you're not the real Santa, but I know that you work for him, and I just want you to give the real Santa a message. I don't want toys. I don't want gifts. I just want my family back." That's it. That's all he says. And then he goes walking off into the night. It's Christmas Eve. It's nighttime. You're in a suburb of Chicago. You're wearing a Santa suit. How do you let that child walk away? It's the only adult that Kevin in the entire movie discloses somewhat of his situation. There's little like jabs, like the police think that the mom's being hysterical and it's just a prank call or whatever, and that's how the police don't put a stop to the situation. But Kevin, the only adult Kevin talks to the entire movie and discusses his situation of being by himself is a Santa Claus. How is that not the worst person in that movie? That guy gets in his
It's
car and goes home.
it's
That dude,
Chicago.
he's got it. Doesn't
He'll be
matter if it's
fine.
Chicago. You're in
He'll,
a Santa suit on Christmas Eve, and a child walks up to you and he says, "I just want my family back." He's 8 years old, and you're in a Santa suit. Respect the fucking suit. If nothing else, respect the suit that you're wearing. Like, I will go to the grave fighting that this Santa in Home Alone 1 is the biggest villain, more than the guys who are robbing the houses, more than the alleged, South Bend shovel slayer. He is the worst fucking person in that entire fucking movie. He is a piece of shit because he lets a child walk off into the night alone with snow covered streets on Christmas fucking Eve. That guy's a piece of shit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Eh,
Rant over.
it's all right. You also mentioned that you want to talk about 90s wrestling.
Oh yeah, I do.
Who is your favorite 90s wrestler?
Um, so as a kid, it was Stone Cold. I think everybody's favorite wrestler
Yes.
was Stone Cold. But growing back, or growing up, and now looking back on that time, and like going back and watching wrestling, through a different lens, I think it's hard to say that like Bret Hart isn't like the most entertaining, story driven wrestler. Like Stone Cold was great because of promo work, but like in ring wrestling, Bret Hart tops them all for me. What about you? I know that we've talked about wrestling, and we have differences opinions of like current generation, but you're not that much younger than me, and obviously you watched wrestling too. So what about you? What going
So,
back to 90s wrestling, like what's best match, best wrestler all time?
personally, I was always a fan of The Undertaker.
Yeah, yeah.
And
He actually scared me. I
he didn't
kayfabe.
scare me as much as Kane did.
Kane was terrifying. Kane was very very scary.
My my dad used to work at Napa Auto Parts store,
Hmm.
and their back room was a big, like, just shelves full of parts and stuff. And I would have nightmares sometimes, just like, because my parents were divorced. My mom would drop me off there on a Friday when he's working, and I would he would take me back to his house. But then I would have, like, so I would be wandering in the back, just bored out of my mind while my dad was working, and I would have nightmares imagining Kane on the far side of that storeroom, and I get locked in that room with them.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm just like,
I can see
nope,
it. Classic 90s slasher movie, like big, huge, long aisle. He steps over from the
shadows.
side. You're perfectly midway down the aisle. There's no way to escape but run the other way. He starts walking at you. You're running, but somehow he's walking faster than you.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but match wise, I personally like the Hell in a Cell matches,
Hell in the Cell's great.
but I
King of the
have
Ring,
grown
90,
accustomed to the
Undertaker
Elimination
is
Chamber
yeah. Okay.
because I think the old chamber was just, it didn't look good, but the new chamber that they introduced a few years ago is really nice.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I took a break from like 2001 to like 2012. So I got back into wrestling. I was doing my internship for college, and I had a buddy who was into wrestling, and he's like, "Oh, we should go see wrestling." And I hadn't watched wrestling in 11 years, and we were sitting at a Monday Night Raw, and I just called the promo like Big Show came out or something like that. I'm like, he's not going to say anything. And then he's just going to walk away, and that's exactly what he did. And the guy sitting next to me, and wasn't my friend, it was just some random guy. He's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "I have no idea. It just it's just what I felt was
It
going to
made
happen."
sense.
I literally had no prior knowledge of the story arc. Like it's one of those things where you jump back in, and it's familiar, it's nostalgic, it's a soap opera.
It
it's
is.
it's it's melodrama. There's a really good um, YouTube video. It's like a 20-minute video. It's called "Wrestling Isn't Wrestling," um, and it kind of like plays out Triple H's story arc from like the beginning to like like Daniel Bryan, so like WrestleMania 30. So like
Gotcha.
that's kind of the window. There's a lot of celebrities like Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone. There you go,
Yeah.
he's in it. But um, it kind of plays it out and dramatizes like just the narrative story that that one character told you over 20 years of actual time, right? um, and how his character has adapted and changed, and ultimately, went from this rebellious character to being, you know, in charge of everything. And like, it's a really good thing. I'll send it to you once we get done with this. But um, yeah, no, it's wrestling is it's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever stop watching it just because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
I know it's fake. I know it's written. But there's certain times where it's like, they surprise you to the point where you don't see something coming. And in those moments, it's truly special when it's like you think you have it all figured out, and you
Yeah.
don't.
It
So,
it's actually funny you mentioned about surprises with wrestling and stuff. Uh, at the last pay per view, it was a fail four way match for the championship, and Seth Rollins was defending,
mhm.
and CM Punk was about to win. And Seth Rollins' Goonies got thrown out of the arena earlier that night, and he, I wasn't expecting who was gonna help him. I didn't expect this person. There were a few other names I was thinking, but it was his own wife, who also wrestles, Becky Lynch.
Sure. Yeah.
To She came out and low blowed CM Punk to for Seth Rollins to retain. I was not expecting Becky Lynch for that.
But it sets up a beautiful story arc, and I know where it goes. I haven't kept up with WWE in the last year or so. I watch some of the pay per views. I watch the major ones,
Yeah.
but I typically watch AW, which we talk about. Um, but it's that storytelling, because everyone, when Becky Lynch gets involved, everyone who knows CM Punk and knows his story and his life knew where the story was headed. So it's oh, Becky Lynch is involved. They're going to bring back AJ Lee.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
And when she came
which
back, I was gobsmacked. I was like, and she
yeah,
still looks good. So
yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, even when you know what's coming, like when it actually happens, like they milk that,
yeah,
they'll milk that over a couple weeks, and then I think it was last Friday she came out,
yep,
um, and it's now they're building towards a tag team match between the husbands and wives, and I mean, honestly, like the CM Punk Seth Rollins match that was bound to happen when he came back in general is one of the most intriguing possible matchups for him. So it's it's and the beauty of it is that they don't give you what you want when you want it. You have to
yeah.
wait for it, and they build that tension, and any good storytelling in anything is like, you're not going to get everything that you want all at one time. It's why book trilogies are the best, because it's played out over time, and it's wrestling, it's played out over people's whole careers.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
so
the one thing I think they should do for this tag team match, since Seth and Becky are both champions, both their titles should be on the line.
have they ever
So
done that within an intergender tag
I
team
don't think
match?
they have, but I just think it would be.
It would
I
be an
think it'd
interesting
be.
stipulation. I
It
feel like
would be.
that's like, I feel like the you wouldn't get that on the first match, right? Like they would have like Becky and, like, I don't know who's the GM of wrestling right now in terms of,
For
is
Raw,
it Nick?
it's Adam Pierce.
Adam Pierce. Okay. Like, I feel like in order for that to be a stipulation, like they would have to, at the next pay per view, they do the tag match. Becky and Seth win by cheating. Like, refs knocked out. They hit them with the belt. They get the pin. Whatever. And or like they win some nefarious way, and then it becomes that Survivor Series, which is the bigger pay-per-view that's coming up. They do that match, but for the titles, and um, if they lose by DQ, they also lose the titles. Like I feel like there has to be like that's like a second match within a run of three.
It
Um,
could be. Now,
I feel like we've
since,
lost half of LBLCS at this point.
oh, absolutely, but that's why these aren't live.
Yeah.
But what what do you like to do during the off season?
I stopped playing League. I typically feel burned out by the end of seasons. And I try and do a detox. So one season, I like playing with Legos. I like really intricate Lego sets, so I have a bunch of those that I've done. I got Hogwarts. I have the Home Alone house. I have a couple Batman sets. So I've done Legos in the off season. I've picked up books during the off season. Um, I got really into like fantasy map drawing one season. You know, I'm a big fan of like D&D content and a big fan of Dropout and Dimension 20, and so um, after one season, I got really really into drawing fantasy maps. So having a kid, I don't have a lot of free time. So like um, typically when I play League, it's competitive League. I don't play League very often. Like I don't play solo queue at all, and so um, I try and detox from League um, between seasons just because it becomes, like I said, it becomes stressful. It becomes, I'm playing, you know, very, very intense, oh, if we lose, we're out type situations. And that's a lot of added stress. And so I try and detox so that I can reset my body and like my free time that I do have isn't stressful. So I typically take at least a month off from League at the conclusion of seasons, and then slowly get back in. It's still connected to community and the
Yeah.
guys on the team, but try not to play much League.
Yeah.
I don't grind solo queue at all. That's not something that will ever interest me. So if it's a book, I have a Hocus Pocus Lego set waiting for me at the end of this season that I'm probably going to tackle. So,
Okay.
what about you? Do you play? You don't play a lot of solo queue, do you?
I'm playing some solo queue right now, actually. So, well, not right now, but I've been. No, I took the season off more to manage and sub since I started going back to school for networking.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm playing some League here and there, but I just to make sure so that way if I'm needing to sub for my team, I will be around for them.
Sure.
So it's a matter of just waiting for just find the time to play it when I'm done with my schoolwork and then for the week and then because they have all the assignments locked till the week of.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Gotcha.
no, I just keep. I play some ranked games here and there just to keep the fingers loose and stuff for
Sure. Yeah.
if I'm needed to play. Now,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Santa,
Yeah.
do you have any final words for us tonight?
Um. Be nice to admins. They do this for the love of competitive league play. They do it for you guys. Yeah. Be nice to admins. That's there's probably a reason for something that you're upset about, and they're human people with jobs, and they're just trying to do their best. So be nice to those guys and girls. Um, yeah, no, I got nothing for you. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for chatting.
No problem. Now, all right, everyone. This has been Sammy Two Slap and Young Santa. We would like to thank you for joining us on this episode of Denny's No Reservations. It was a little bit of a longer one because Santa and I can just sit here and talk and not get
You
bored of each
probably
other.
know after
But
that.
we would love to see you join us for the next one. And as always, if you're interested in joining me on an episode of Denny's No Reservations, there is a form for you to fill out on LBLCS Discord under the content site. So feel free to fill that out, and we will see you next time.